We've got the A final underway, the men's junior 8. Lane 1, we have St. Ignatius Cleveland. Lane 2, Orchard Lake St. Mary's. 3, St. Edwards. 4, New Trier. 5, Fox Chapel. 6, East Grand Rapids. And then St. John's Jesuit and Forest Hills Central on the 2 closest lanes nearest to you on the bottom of the screen.
New Trier, early lead. Second place, unofficially, to Orchard Lake St. Mary's, St. Edwards, St. Ignatius Cleveland with Fox Chapel, and then East Grand Rapids, Forest Hills Central, and St. John's Jesuit. But again, only the first 500 meters. We saw there in the last race, and the B final of this event, what can change between this point and the finish line. We could have an upset here. Right now, the field is all in contact with each other. Good push I'm seeing out of Orchard Lake St. Mary's in lane 2. Their bow ball moving up a little bit on New Trier as we close in on the first 500 meters.
Well, it looks like Ignatius Cleveland over in lane 1 is making a push as well. They can sense their coxswain's telling them we're going through that 500-meter mark here. And I think they're inching in. Looks like they may be even almost to second place there. It's hard to tell from this angle here where we're at.
St. Edwards moving there with them. I felt like St. Edwards and St. Ignatius Cleveland kind of moved and took that move at the same speed at the same time, only making this field tighter and tighter. New Trier still in the lead, but not by as much as they had. It is not comfortable. Look at this, race for second, very, very tight between St. Edwards, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, and St. Ignatius Cleveland. St. Ignatius Cleveland probably with the advantage now at this point, but all down to maybe a seat, maybe a foot between places 2 through 4.
Now here's going to be a key point to look at because we're at that halfway point here. It wouldn't surprise me if all these crews decide to take a real strong move here because I think Ignatius Cleveland is now pushing to first place here. It is straight across. As we said, it was not a comfortable position for New Trier to be in. Let's see how they respond here because we're pretty much dead even.
That race of 3 for second through fourth is pushing on New Trier's early lead. I think momentum is with St. Ignatius Cleveland at this point. They are now challenging New Trier for that first place position here in the A final of the men's junior 8.
And St. Edwards not giving up either. They are pushing in. Orchard Lake St. Mary wants to be in the pack too. It is a fight in those first pack of 4.
And it does look to be that St. Ignatius Cleveland has pushed ahead of New Trier. New Trier is still holding on to a second, but Orchard Lake St. Mary's trying to take advantage of that along with St. Edward.
And I think Orchard Lake may have pulled ahead here, maybe in second place, and it looks like it may be neck and neck between St. Edward and New Trier for third. Into the last 500 meters here. This is for the Dr. Mark Bellinger Cup. And first, second, and third of this event get a berth in SRAA. So it is very important for these crews to medal in this event.
And so that's what we're probably seeing here, starting to race for pride here. So we see St. Ignatius Cleveland overtook New Trier for the first place position, but New Trier is now clawing their way back into getting that top 3 spot here. New Trier challenging Orchard Lake St. Mary's for the second place. St. Edward not making it easy. Again, like Jim said, places 1 through 3 getting their tickets to SRAAs. New Trier holding on to a current third place position.
Just barely. They really are now stepping it up here to fend off this push from St. Edward.
Very good push out of Orchard Lake St. Mary's. They said, we were in 4th, we were in 3rd, we're in 2nd now. We want to keep it that way.
Exactly.
New Trier holding 3rd place currently. St. Edward's holding on New Trier.
As we're coming up to the beach, make sure that you are shouting for these crews here. They need this right now. This is where there's very little left in the tanks. So give them a little bit of burst of energy here as they come by that finish, the awards dock there, closing in on the finish. And it looks like we've got Ignatius Cleveland crossing the line first. Orchard Lake St. Mary's second. And it looks like New Trier was able to hold off St. Edward for third.
Fantastic push there, that last half of that race. Next, we've